Ladies and gentlemen, this is the video that I've been looking to make for a long time. The reason why I haven't done it yet is because I know it's going to take a long time, but buckle up, seatbelts on, get ready for the Manchester United player reviews for the entire season. I did this on my Instagram last year, and it's very interesting to see where I go from there to here. Now, I'm not going to look at that whatsoever. I'm going to be completely and utterly unbiased, go straight with my gut instincts, and hopefully that will take me somewhere. There are some good players this season, and there's also been some bad players this season, but we're going to get through all of that and more in this players review for the season. Let's do it. What's up, everybody? It's the Aidan Sports Show. Welcome back to another video. This is going to be the players review for Manchester United throughout the entire season. We go through every single player that has been playing consistently this season and give my honest reviews for all of them. Now, there are a few players that will be in here that have not played as much, but there also could potentially be some players that I leave out because I have not seen them play at all this season. But before we get started, please like and subscribe to the Aidan Sports Show YouTube channel, turn notifications on, and let me know in the comments below if you agree or disagree with any of my ratings going into this video. Also, if you'd like to know why I put all the ratings the way that they are, and if I think any of them deservedly or undeservedly need to be changed, please let me know in the comments below. We can have a talk about it, man. From Manchester United fan to Manchester United fan, there's a lot to discuss. So I'm not going to go through any more of the introductions. I say let's get straight into it. Let's start off with David De Gea, the goalkeeper, the starting goalkeeper for Manchester United. There has been a lot of discussions on where David De Gea should be in terms of player ratings for this season. So many ups and so many downs, a lot of mistakes, and overall there's been a big topic of debate now with Henderson re-signing for Manchester United, that he could potentially be out of here, or he could even be dropped for Henderson, considering both of them will probably be playing. That's a big issue. It's obviously De Gea was one of the best goalkeepers in the world, and I think he still can be one of the best goalkeepers in the world, but maybe it's just one of those times where unfortunately the club does not suit what he's looking for, and he's not suiting what the club is looking for, and therefore there's been a few disconnects, and that probably led to a lot of his mistakes. Whatever the case may be, overall I thought David De Gea had a fairly okay season, a good season, but arguably you expect a lot better from one of the best goalkeepers in the world. So I'm going to give him a 6 out of 10. I don't think he was worse than that. I honestly don't think he deserved a 5 or a 4. A lot of people would give him that just because of the mistakes, but if you look beyond those mistakes, there have been so many great plays that David De Gea has made this season, made some fantastic saves, has kept us in some games, but overall, you expect better, man. The mistakes do really stand out for David De Gea. I feel like everybody can memorize them, but regardless of that, we're going to have to move on from that one. I think a 6 out of 10. Going on to Sergio Romero, the other goalkeeper who has played in Europa League and Carabao Cup, and even some FA Cups, I believe, competitions. Sergio Romero is also a very interesting one, and more because of the fact that he didn't play as much. So I don't really feel comfortable giving him a low rating because of that. So I think it's best to give Sergio Romero a 6 out of 10 as well. Realistically, he's done very well with the games that he's played. However, there are a few goals that I can specifically remember from the Europa League that Romero could have easily saved, and I think overall he's had nothing much to do this entire season. I think that's why he's a bit frustrated. He probably wants more game time, and he's just not getting it here at Manchester United. So I think it's fair to say that it's probably going to go down to the fact that he's done nothing. So 6 out of 10, an average season for Sergio Romero, the typical season for Sergio Romero. We're going to move on with that one. Into the next player, we're going to go to the right backs now. Diogo Dalot. Interesting. We've got a big topic here, boys. I don't think I can assess Diogo Dalot. I'm tempted to just put a non-assess. I can't remember. There must be a game where he has played. I feel like in the Carabao, he scored a goal this year in the Carabao Cup. But overall, he's not had many games to play. So a lot of it's because of injury, and I think Ollie doesn't trust him. If I had to give him a score, it'd be like a 2, because he just has, or even maybe a 3 or something like that, because he just has not played enough. And it's either that or a non-assess. But since I want to give him a rating, I want to give a lot of our players that actually significantly, that all Man United fans know they probably deserve that player rating. So I think I'll give Diogo Dalot a 2 out of 10, just because he has not played at all. It's as simple as that, really. Let's go on to Aaron Wan-Bissaka, the Mr. Reliable, Mr. Consistent right back that has played nearly every single game for Manchester United. Interesting here. I think Aaron Wan-Bissaka has been one of our best players this entire season. I think he's been tremendous in the way that he has made an impression on Manchester United fans. And now we expect this week in and week out. Now, of course, the end of the season really brings up sparkling points to why he's not been able to really grasp that opportunity fully. We all expect Wan-Bissaka to be the future right back of Manchester United. We all expect Aaron Wan-Bissaka to be the permanent right back of Manchester United. Arguably, there's no real competition for him to get dropped on that side. It's as simple as that. There is no competition for him there. So we all think that he's going to take those reins and hopefully run as far as possible. And I think this season has been a sign that he could definitely do that. All he needs to do now is maybe stay a little bit fitter, maybe try and get your conditioning up towards the end of the season, because we all saw a little bit of a drop-off. We're not sure if that was based on his fitness or based on other things going on. Maybe COVID has really affected him in one way or another. Regardless of that, I think just solely, I was tempted to give him a 9. I really was. I'm going to give him an 8. I think an 8 is perfectly fine for Aaron Wan-Bissaka. He has been a tremendous right back for us, and we're going to continue to ride with him for a long time. Only exciting news. We'll move on to the centre-backs. There are a bunch of centre-backs for Manchester United. First off, well, let's go to Victor Lindelof. Honestly, at the end of the season, bar the mistakes, Victor Lindelof was definitely the better centre-back between Harry Maguire and Victor Lindelof. However, honestly, during the start, we all had that stage where we said Victor Lindelof should not be starting for Manchester United. We even got that situation where Victor Lindelof got dropped for Twanzebe for a few short weeks before Twanzebe got injured. So in the end, Manchester United do have a topic of, if you give Victor Lindelof one thing, do you have to give Harry Maguire the same? And that's the kind of dilemma that we do here with these player ratings. Honestly, Victor Lindelof has not done really anything I could say wrong, besides those mistakes that we all know towards the end of the season. The Giroud goal, the Southampton goal. There was a goal in the Europa League as well against Sevilla that was poor. It was poor. But before that, I think he's not done a foot wrong. So I think it's fair to say I would give Victor Lindelof a 6 out of 10, an average season. He was so much better last year. I think he got an 8 out of 10 from me last year on my Instagram, but not to be this year. I think a 6 is fairly average. Obviously, he's had a little bit of a downgrade. He does have arguably a better centre-back partner, and that maybe has taken away from a lot of his highlight plays. But also, Victor Lindelof was blocking Cristiano Ronaldo at one stage last year. This year, it didn't look like he was that centre-back. But anyway, we're going to hope that he can get back there. We're going to hope he could potentially be starting next season, even if we do get a centre-back. So we do need to consider him for next season as well. He's not a terrible player. And just because I gave him a 6 doesn't mean I don't think he can pick it up. Let's go on to Eric Bailly, who also has played a decent amount of games for Manchester United. However, he has not played enough for me to give him a very high score. He's not going to get an average score from me because I just don't think he's played enough. But he has played a decent amount towards the end of the season. That game against Chelsea was superb. Absolutely superb. And he had a few games after that where he was up and down. That seems to be Eric Bailly's typical season for Manchester United. It's up and it's down. It's left and it's right. We don't know what to expect from Eric Bailly, but he does have the traits to become a starting centre-back for Manchester United. He's quick, he's agile, he wins headers, he's very confident on the ball, sometimes too confident. And in the end, Manchester United need all those traits in their centre-back. It's as simple as that, but he can't stay healthy. I think it's fair to say I would give Eric Bailly a 5 out of 10. People could go lower than that and I wouldn't have a problem because in the end, he's not played all season. But realistically, he is definitely someone that has the potential to be Manchester United starting centre-back. And he has performed well in a lot of times this season. But again, the few poor performances that he has had really gave us trouble. And also, he has been injured twice this season. It's getting a little bit old now with how many times he actually does get injured. Hopefully, just all we need is one season of fully healthy Eric Bailly. We might be able to see all the things that we bought him for previously with Jose Mourinho. We need that. We need a full season of Eric Bailly being fit and able to play and ready to play all games. And I don't know if we'll ever see it, but that's exactly what we need. Going on to another centre-back, and he has not played either that much as well. We're going to go to Phil Jones. Very interesting, Phil Jones. To be honest, I think he's had one game or maybe 2 games. And I'm pretty sure he did also get injured this season. If I had to give Phil Jones a rating, and to be honest, I probably shouldn't. Diogo Dalot and Phil Jones should not get ratings, but just because I feel like they are well-known players, they've been here, well, at least on Phil Jones' retrospect, he's been here for a while. You have to give him at least a rating just because you can't just ignore his existence. I know he hasn't played much, but he is still here. So if I had to give him a rating, I'd give him a 1 or a 2. I'm going to give him a 1 because I feel like Diogo Dalot at least played a little bit, just a tad bit more. Maybe I'm wrong, I don't know. But that's what comes to my head when I think about Phil Jones. A 1 out of 10. I'm sorry if that hurts anybody, but yeah. Now, there are players that were on loan, like Marcus Rojo, that I'm not going to talk about. Chris Smalling, I'm not going to talk about. There's been other players as well that have left the club, like Ashley Young, who I will talk about. But there are a few players like that that have not exactly been at Manchester United all season. So I'm not going to go and give them a player ratings for another team. You know what I mean? I'm going to give them a player rating for this team when they played with us. And I know Marcus Rojo's played a game, but still, it's a 1 out of 10 for Rojo as well, if you want to know. We'll go on to the big man, Harry Maguire. Harry Maguire, man. Okay. So it's very similar to Victor Lindelof with Harry Maguire. He played left-sided centre-back for us. Obviously, there's been talks about replacing that side, which means either Harry Maguire moves over or he gets dropped. Obviously, he's been the captain. I think he had a very good season leading up to that captaincy. And once he got the captaincy, his performances have been average to poor. So I don't really know what to give Harry Maguire because before that, we were giving him 7s, a lot of 6s, but definitely 7s and some 8s. And he's definitely been a big improvement over the centre-backs we did have last season and for many, many seasons. In many ways, we really undervalue the presence of Harry Maguire just because we're so focused on this season that we forget to see the centre-backs and the defence we had in previous seasons. There was a time when we had Ashley Young, Phil Jones, Chris Smalling and Luke Shaw as our back 5. Now, obviously, Luke Shaw is still a keeper, and he was probably the best one at the time. Smalling isn't bad, but at those times, none of those players were really fully invested or even fully considered in this Manchester United squad. Only Luke Shaw's the one that remains. So for Harry Maguire, I think I'm going to give him a 6 out of 10 as well. Same with Victor Lindelof. If I give him above Victor Lindelof, I feel like people will go crazy because definitely towards the end of the season, he was not better than Victor Lindelof. So I think that is fair for everybody. In relation to that, we're going to have to move on from this one as well. Next up, Axel Tuanzebe. Very, very difficult one to judge with Axel Tuanzebe because when he did play, was phenomenal. He gave us everything that we needed. He gave us comfortability in that right centre-back position. He gave us pace. He won a lot of duels. He was very strong. He did everything. And I think Manchester United fans were really, really hoping this would be the breakout season. But then again, for the second time, he got injured poorly. And when he did come back and he was on the bench, he didn't play and he got injured again. It's unfortunate. It really is unfortunate to see a very young, up-and-coming future captain for this club get injured twice in one season. It is very, very sad. And unfortunately, because he didn't get many games, it's not right for me to give him higher than Harry Maguire or an Eric Bailly because they've played more. So I think I have to give Axel Tuanzebe a 4 out of 10 because he did play a good amount of games. Again, I think it's fair to say if he did play more, he would be one of the higher ones up there. I think that's something I could almost guarantee that he would definitely be on the par of Victor Lindelof and Harry Maguire, or even an Eric Bailly, but he just didn't play enough. I think that's fair. We're going to have to move on to, I guess, another player, man. Let's see who we've got here. First off, we'll move to the left-back positions and Brandon Williams. Brandon Williams, a Manchester United breakout season for the lad, and he was absolutely superb towards the start of his season at Manchester United. People always forget how positive he was. He was giving competition to Luke Shaw. He was fighting, he was battling, he was tackling. He showed grit and leadership and overall fantastic Manchester United spirit. We all seem to forget that because towards the end of the season, he was lacking in confidence. He wasn't up to par. He didn't have a left foot. All of these things, and he did cost us a few games, including the Sevilla game. A lot of people put that on Brandon Williams. So it's a story of two halves for Brandon Williams. People could give him as low as a 2 out of 10 for his performances in recent times. Then people could give him as high as a 7 out of 10 because of his start of the season. So if you're going to average it out, I think Brandon Williams was average overall. So I give him a 6. He didn't play a lot of the season in terms of the start. He didn't play a lot of the start, but he's definitely had enough games to put him on par with a lot of the other players who played a little bit more than him. And honestly, he was superb. He was so superb. People were saying we needed to drop Luke Shaw during one time or another with Brandon Williams. It's as simple as that, man. A lot of people want to hate on this guy. A lot of people don't give him a chance anymore or telling him he needs to move to right back. Look, if he moves to right back, no issues, no drama. He probably is a right back. But overall, we do forget how good he was at the start of the season. And I think that's why people are very divided on him. We don't know what to expect from Brandon Williams. Moving on to arguably a better left back, Luke Shaw. And Luke Shaw is extremely interesting. Extremely interesting. Because we miss Luke Shaw. We miss Luke Shaw from the very end of the season against Sevilla to the very point where he got injured. Since then, as soon as Luke Shaw got injured again this season, our performances started to dwindle down. Our attacking play dwindled down. Marcus Rashford's performances declined. And overall, we give Luke Shaw a lot of stick. Well, not me, but a lot of Man United fans give Luke Shaw a lot of stick. Like to make fun of his weight. Like to make fun of the fact that he can't get any assists or he doesn't go into attacking positions. When overall, we saw what it was like without him. And I think a lot of people retract their statements on Luke Shaw because they've seen that the grass is not always greener on the other side. In the end, Luke Shaw is a perfect left back for Manchester United. Overall, his season has been very, very good. And he's not even played just left back. Against Liverpool and Man City, he was arguably the best left-sided centre-back that we've seen. I mean, that boggles my mind that we even tried to play him at left centre-back. But arguably, he's a better left centre-back than he is at left back. We can make that discussion. We truly can. Overall, Luke Shaw, in my opinion, gets a 7 out of 10. I thought he was tremendous. I don't know about you, but I thought he was extremely good, especially towards the end when he was playing left-sided centre-back and he was playing left-back. Again, we need a full season of Luke Shaw healthy. He's very similar to Eric Bailly. Overall, Luke Shaw plays a lot more games than Eric Bailly, but we need to see him injury-free for a full season because then we can finally see what Manchester United could be with that left-back position. That's why people want another left-back replacement overall. It's not to replace Luke Shaw. It's to give him a backup because overall, we don't really have that left-back. We can put Brandon Williams there, but people don't want him there. People want him as a right-back. We need a left-back. That's the way that I see it. We'll move on to the CDM positions, and we're going to start off with Nemanja Matic. I nearly said Vidic, but Nemanja Matic. Tale of two halves once again. People don't, again, it was so long ago. It's actually felt like over a year ago. And it is very close to being over a year ago. But during the December time, and even a little bit beyond that, Matic was shockingly bad. To the point where people saying sell him in January, sell him on the spot. And he got dropped for a long time for Fred and McTominay. and everybody was super happy. But of course, Matic, when everything looks down and out, he finds a way to rise up from the ashes and performs one of the best for Manchester United post his dropping. Unbelievable how this guy managed to save his career at Manchester United again and again and again. This is not the first time Matic has done this. This is not the first time Matic got dropped and then came back and he was sensational. I think Matic responds very, very well when his starting position is in jeopardy. I really do. I think it's a kick up the arse for him, and I think he's that type of player that will accept getting dropped and he'll focus on getting better just to make sure it doesn't happen again. That's the type of player Nemanja Matic is. Overall, it's very, very similar. I don't think he was as bad as maybe a Brandon Williams towards the end of the season. So I think I'll give Nemanja Matic a 7 as well, because when he did come in, he was doing 8s and 9s. He was getting man of the matches every single time for a lot of people. And in the end, I think a 7 is fair. Maybe a 6, but definitely a 7 for me. I really, really enjoyed the way that Matic played, man. Especially in the post-lockdown period when there was no crowd. Matic really took the reins and he actually allowed us to go on attack. And all those 4s and 5 goals that we scored against teams, Matic was a big part of allowing that to happen, because he was the one that was shielding everything, that was replacing all those players that wanted to go forward. He was covering for them. He doesn't get enough credit in Nemanja Matic, and I think a lot of fans are starting to see that now, including myself. So I'm very, very proud of how he performed. Moving on to Fred, another player that doesn't get enough credit. Even at the end of the season, this guy has been consistently good for the entire season. I am lost for words how people could say that Matic was better than Fred. I understand that Fred didn't play post-lockdown. I understand, but Fred was starting every single game. With Matic and without Matic, he was good every single time. I can't remember a bad game before the lockdown that Fred had. And yes, I'm sure there is 1 or 2, maybe even 3. But I can't remember them. And the reason why is because there was 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. You could keep on going. Fantastic games from Fred, who really had to step up this season with all the injuries in our midfield. We were desperate for a midfielder, and Fred stepped up to make sure that at least when it was all bleak and we didn't have anybody, at least we had him. At least we had Fred. If we didn't have Fred, we would be where Arsenal was during that time, 10th and 12th. That's where we would have been. And we were there for, I'm pretty sure, for a period of time within the Premier League. So we have a lot to give to Fred, and that's why I give him an 8 out of 10. Not enough credit this guy gets. Seriously, not enough credit. I hope to see more of him next season. I arguably think that he's going to stay a bench player. Again, people don't respect him enough, man. Is he a starting player for Manchester United? I think a lot of people will have to debate that, and some people will just say straight away no. A lot of people will say he definitely deserves the opportunity, and we're going to have to see where that goes. I don't think we're going to get a CDM or even another midfielder, so Fred will get his opportunities next season. Let's see how well he does in that position. Moving on, we've got Scotty McTominay, the McSauce, the Scott McMayonnaise, whatever you want to call him. And Scott McTominay has, again, I feel like I'm saying this with every player, an up and down season. Towards the end of the season, I thought Scott McTominay was definitely one of the worst players on Man United. He wasn't really performing up to a higher standard, but there were still elements, and I'll say this all the time, there were still elements of a CDM there. There were still elements of him being able to do what Matic does. I don't think anybody sees it but me, and that could be my delusion. But I still think that Scott McTominay could potentially take over that CDM position, or at least take over one of the midfield positions for Manchester United when it's all said and done. He may stay a bench player for the rest of his career, or he may take one of those positions and make it his own. And I hope for the latter. I really hope he takes one of those positions, because I do think that, clearly there has to be a reason why everyone's telling us to play him. From Alex Ferguson to Jose to Oli now, he's earned the trust of so many managers. There has to be something in there for us to really believe it. But obviously, it's going to take more convincing for a lot of people, and some people are fully convinced and give him the faith. Overall, Scott McTominay, the start of the season was really good from him. He had a lot of great goals. He scored against Norwich, and the Arsenal goal was sensational. He was attacking. He had good passing ranges. I think Scott McTominay was a 7 out of 10. Could be a 6. I'm going to stick with 7. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. Overall, he was tremendous. He was really, really good. There's not much else to say about Scott McTominay. I feel like everything I said about Fred and Matic in many ways does comply with Scott McTominay. Up and down season. This very, very, very... what is it called? The thing with Scott McTominay is, I feel like when he comes off the bench, he does not perform well. He needs to be starting to perform well. I feel like that's a confidence thing. And maybe that's, again, another thing that I just seem to think, and I could be in my own delusion. We're going to have to wait and see next season. We all know Scott McTominay's re-signed. He's given us his long-term future. And let's see what Manchester United could do with it. Overall, he's had a good season, and arguably a better season than our player that we're going to talk about next, Paul Pogba. So obviously, before we get anything into Paul Pogba, obviously the terrible news that he had a virus. He had the virus, and I want to say my condolences. Obviously, get well soon. There's nothing really else I can say. Hopefully no one from his family or no one from his friends would have got this virus as well. Since the news came out, it looks to be like he's fairly healthy. Hopefully things get better for him. Overall, I just wanted to say that before I go into his player ratings. I hope everything goes well for him and his family, and everyone stays safe and healthy and ready to watch and participate in the next season. So let's continue with Paul Pogba. He was injured for majority of the year, and I think that's where we can give Paul Pogba a little bit of a disadvantage, because people will give him an 8 if he played the whole season, I think. Obviously, not playing a lot of games, he really only played past the lockdown period where there was no fans, and he had a few games here and there. I think he played against the Arsenal at home. He had like 2 games, and he got injured again. So Paul Pogba is very interesting. I don't think I could give him more than a 5 or a 6, and I think I'll give him a 6 because he did participate in the ladder of the Europa League. He never really got benched except for 1 game, and overall, he did very, very well, extremely well. And that partnership with Bruno was fantastic. And I feel like people don't give him enough credit. I really don't think people give him enough credit just because he plays in a deeper role. He has made such an impact that you could borderline see Manchester United struggle without him. He might not be getting that many assists or that many goals, but what you do see is a massive drop-off when he doesn't play. And that has to do a lot with how much people respect Paul Pogba and how much they really fear Paul Pogba when he makes an impact like that without making a goal or creating an assist. So I think that's fair enough, man. You need to give a lot of players the respect that they deserve sometimes, and I definitely think he's one of those players. Moving on to Jesse Lingard. He's a bit of a different one, isn't he? Obviously, the end of the season for Jesse Lingard was not too bad, but I think the poor thing is he's just not had a good season. I can't front it. I can't defend his season, and I think Jesse Lingard will know better than anybody that he's not had a great season. He's had such bad. He's had a bad year overall. I think even mentally, it's been a very, very big struggle for Jesse Lingard. So I don't want to really go too much into him. I'm just going to give him his player rating. The Europa League and the last Premier League goal, they were good goals, and he did make a good impact. But overall, I think he gets a 3. He definitely had enough opportunities, so I can't give him any deductions for not being able to participate in the season. But overall, he did not really live up to any expectations whatsoever. And the real impact he did make was towards the end. And it just wasn't enough overall. And I do think that he was rightfully dropped. And I overall do think that he probably could potentially get moved on. But I don't know. I'll back whatever Ole Gunnar Solskjaer chooses with Jesse Lingard. I do think we need another attacking midfielder. I do think we need another midfielder overall, possibly 2. But in the end, that's not my call, is it? Hopefully, the managers and the manager and the Glazers and Ed Woodward and all the transfer department will be able to sort all of that out. Next up, we'll go to Andreas Pereira, because he was another player that has been on the exact same boat as Jesse Lingard. Now, arguably, you could say that Jesse Lingard was better than Andreas Pereira, so that could put put Andreas Pereira down to a 2. And to be honest, that is where I'm going to get him. I'm going to get him at a 2. Because you think with Andreas Pereira at that age, he's like, what, 23 years old now, 24? He was going to be, I remember 2 years ago, people were raving about this guy. He's a youth product, that Manchester United, he's Brazilian, he's got the techers, he can score long-range goals. We have seen Andreas Pereira sometimes perform some magic. I'm not going to deny it, but I feel like he doesn't even know what he's supposed to be doing on the pitch. The last game specifically that I saw of him, I believe he got substituted on in the Europa League, and he was just dribbling everywhere. He wasn't passing, he wasn't creating passing lanes, he wasn't crossing. He just dribbled in front of all the defenders. And yes, he kept the ball, but overall, it's not really intelligent to just keep doing that to everybody. And I think deep down, Andreas could very well succeed at Manchester United if he just finds the consistency and the confidence and the actual ability to make the right plays at the right time. That's his biggest weakness. I'm going to give him a 2 because he's definitely had a lot of opportunities. He scored some goals. I think he scored a deflection goal in the Premier League, and I also think he scored a goal with Lusk, which was a ridiculous shot that should have never went in. I think he has 3 goals this season, Andreas Pereira. Correct me if I'm wrong. For all those people that want to give him another chance, I'm very lenient towards some of our players. I'm willing to give him another chance, but overall, he's probably not going to play as much this season anyway. So there is a big discussion about Andreas Pereira potentially going out on loan or even just getting sold, because he has proven that he could definitely not make it at Manchester United. And now he's going to have to prove that he can, because a lot of people will not trust him after this. Overall, I think he's been poor. I think he's been worse than Jesse Lingard. So I'm going to give him a 2. Next up, we've got Juan Mata. Juan Mata in the Europa League was sensational. Mata in the Carabao Cup, I believe he had a few games in the Carabao Cup, was sensational. In the Premier League, was nothing special. If anything, he was one of the worst players on the pitch in the Premier League. Overall, Mata still has something to offer for Manchester United. I feel like everybody believes that. In cup competitions, Mata is a perfect player to play. He can create opportunities. He's good at keeping the ball. Overall, the weaknesses is that Mata plays on the right wing, and I will never ever stop talking about it. Mata is the slowest player on our team for a lot of people. A lot of people think that, and I think it's basically been shown with his pace. And we're playing him as a winger, where the way that we play with counter-attacking, we're required to have Mata run. And yes, he's willing to do it, and we all love Juan Mata's passion. He's a perfect individual. You couldn't ask for a nicer guy to play on your team, and he represents us with such pride, and he thinks that every single day at Manchester United is a blessed day. And honestly, for that alone, like, it's really special to have a player like that at Manchester United. Someone that actually is living the dream, and he's not afraid to show how great his dream is, how great his life is. So I think I have to give him a 5, because Premier League is the most important league out of all of them. He was not really confident or even showing that he could do much in the Premier League anymore, and I think deep down that's where we need our squad depth the most, because Premier League is the longest league. We're gonna need players that can live up to the potential of fighting in the Premier League. I don't know if Mata's up for that anymore. Again, he's going to have another season next season. I doubt we're going to get rid of Juan Mata. He's going to have another time to prove us wrong, and I think he can definitely do it. We're going to have to wait and see once again. Moving on to the wingers. We've got some wingers to talk about. Again, if I did leave anybody out, I feel like there could be at least 1 or 2 players that I do leave out. I do highly recommend that you let me know in the comments below. It's a half-an-hour video. I don't expect everybody to watch to this point, but I'm making it because I love Manchester United. Daniel James. Daniel James, if you would have talked to me at the very start of the season, Daniel James was a 10 out of 10. Everything past that, not great. And I think if I give Juan Mata look, overall, Dan James has not had a terrible season. Assist-wise, he was pretty good, man. He had 7 assists, I believe, or 8 assists in all competitions. Not bad. 4 goals, not bad. But his stats are similar to Swansea, and he's had a lot. I think he's had a lot of game time for Manchester United. he hasn't really progressed much as I'd hope. Obviously, there's progression in his game. The guy's still young, but stats-wise, he's putting up the same stats as he did at Swansea, so I can't say he's been worse. So I think I'd give him a 6. I could give him a 5. If my Mata gets a 5, James may as well get a 5 as well. But the difference is, I think he's offered more in the Premier League. I think he's offered more in the Europa League as well. He can offer us more as well. He's a very, very hard-working player. He helps us a lot on defense and on offense. The only thing I need to say about Daniel James is if he could just fix that final ball, the guy could have easily had 15, 16 assists this season if he just played the right ball all the time. Obviously, that's an impossible feat, but that's what we should be aiming for. Getting the right ball into the box all the time, not just any sort of ball. That usually doesn't work. You don't just hit across the ball and hope for the best. I feel like we need a little bit more positioning. Definitely. It's not all Daniel James' fault, but definitely we need precision in the passing. Precision. Man, my accent really stuffed me up there. Next up, I want to talk about someone that's probably not going to be mentioned a lot. Tahith Chong. Manchester United re-signed Tahith Chong earlier this season. And he's now out on loan now. He has played a fair, decent game for Manchester United. But overall, he's not been great. So I think I'm going to give Tahith Chong a 4. I don't want to go into that. A lot of people really lost faith in Tahith Chong after this season. Let's just see where that goes, man. It takes a lot longer for some players than others. We need to give him all the faith and confidence in the world that he can still progress with Manchester United. We'll move on. Oh, I actually forgot someone, I'm pretty sure. Bruno Fernandes. Hold on. We'll go to Bruno Fernandes first. I missed that guy. How did I miss Bruno Fernandes? What? Come on, man. Bruno Fernandes. I'm going to give him a 9. I think I'm going to give him a 9. What hasn't he done this season? In nearly every game, he has performed. Even when he's played poorly, he's made an impact in nearly every game we've played. There's only been maybe 1 or 2 games in 6 months that he's been here where he's not either got a goal or an assist. And yes, I include penalties in the goals. In the end, he's not missed a penalty, man. He's had so many penalties, you'd expect most players to miss one of them. He has not missed one. So, whatever you want to say, again, I'm really pissed off when people talk about penalties. I'm sure you can tell. But I include that. He's had a tremendous season. I'm going to give him a 9. And we'll move on to Mason Greenwood now. The player had a breakout season, scored. I think he's tied with Wayne Rooney with the most goals as a teenager. I think you can't ask for a better season. Now, the benefit of Mason Greenwood is that, of course, it's his first season. It's his breakout season. He's 18. A lot of people could give him a perfect score. And that's where I'm kind of leaning towards. I think Mason Greenwood's had a perfect season. Like, I think I'm being a bit biased. Let me try and... overall, there's been bad games from Mason Greenwood. But he's broken records in his first season. He has so much potential. He's 2-footed. He's had some of the best goals of the season. It's up to you guys. I'm going to give him a 10. I'm going to give him a 10. We'll just leave it at that. If you guys disagree, feel free to let me know. I'm giving him a 10. We'll move on to Marcus Rashford. Very, very up and down Marcus Rashford. In the middle of the season, this guy was going to get perfect 10s every single game. The guy was that good. People were saying he was better than Mbappe at that point in time. He was that good. He was the best player in Europe at the time. Europa League, Premier League, Carabao Cup, FA Cup, scored a free kick. He finally scored a free kick. Wow, and what a free kick it was. Like, the guy has honestly done tremendous things in terms of Manchester United. So, for that, I think a 7 is fair. I would give him an 8 if he was just consistent, even when he wasn't at his greatest. He just wasn't consistent enough, and the injury played a massive part as well. He did miss a lot of time. I think a 7 is fair. We're going to move on to Odion Ighalo at the number 9 position. Odion Ighalo is very, 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 very easy to mark because in other competitions that wasn't the Premier League, he was world class. He scored so many goals, so many spectacular goals. The right-left volley. He scored a few tap-ins here and there. Even when people were trying to take him down, he scored some goals. He was very, very crucial for us in a lot of Europa League games, Carabao Cup games. He did his job. But in the Premier League, he didn't score a goal in the Premier League. And he barely got game time. So you give him a 6, I think. I think you give him a 6. He did what he was supposed to do. You can't say anything more than that. He did exactly what he was supposed to do this season. And we're going to have him for a little bit longer, man. It's going to be exciting to see what we could do with that sort of player. Last but not least, we've got the number 9. I think this is the last player. There could be more. I might have missed someone. Again, let me know. Anthony Martial, the number 9. In my opinion, the player of the year. Now, Martial missed 2 months of action at very, very close to the first few games of the season because of, I believe it was a leg injury or an ankle injury. I'm not really sure. And besides that, you couldn't ask for a better season. 23 goals, 12 assists, and 48 appearances. Overall, he was superb towards the end of the season. He was superb in the beginning. I can't give him a perfect score. I can't. Because I think Mason Greenwood, there's a lot of reasons why I can give him a perfect score because it's his first season. And he's done something that many, many, many Man United teenagers, many players could only dream of. And that's why it's the perfect season. For Martial, it's not the perfect season, but it's very, very close. I think I'm going to give him a number that represents how well he's done in 9 out of 10. That's where I see him being at the moment, a 9 out of 10. And I'm very, very happy for him to have that rating. 9. Look, he could do better. We all know that. There are a few opportunities that he did miss. We all know that. But overall, name me a better striker with a better conversion rate this season than Martial. Now, there are better strikers out there in the world, but in the Premier League, I think he has the highest percentage of a conversion rate. He's had the least opportunities. He has 23 goals. He's also created goals. He's been essential to this season. No Anthony Martial, no top 4. Could you say that about a few of our other players? Could you say that about Marcus Rashford? We saw him. He was injured for a lot of the time. We still managed to get top 4. Could you say that? The only 2 players I think we could say that with is Bruno Fernandes and Anthony Martial and Mason Greenwood because I feel like we really needed his goals as well. So in the end, overall, that is the player ratings. 40-minute video. Wow, that's going to be a monster to edit, but hopefully for anybody that does watch this, it's not going to be a high number. I'm already accepted that. But in the end, hopefully whoever has watched this, whoever will watch this, will enjoy it. Thank you guys for watching. If you are new, please like and subscribe. Have a wonderful day. Take care and peace.